Welcome to the Buylist. This is episode 13.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard. Let's dive into it, Ted. What are we talking about this week?
So on this episode, we're going to dive into EV. We took a week off last week for Baltimore, right? We were both there, so a little hard to work the spreadsheets on the road. So we're diving back in 2 weeks of data to look at here, Nate. Let's just get right into it. First sets that we want to look at is, of course, Outsiders, the newest set, on everyone's mind right now. So we saw a little bit of a bump here, 2.5%, right around there from 2 weeks out. A little bit of shift in the Majestics are, holding their value, right? I guess is what I want to say. And I think it's shifted maybe up a little bit. I honestly, maybe over the 2 weeks, right, it went up a bit. 27% of the expected value of the box in the Majestics, which I think it's working, right? Put out the podcast gif, right? It's working. It's working.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is gonna be off the back of like Down and Dirty, pumping up and like, listen, if you didn't get your place set yet, you can't blame us. We've been talking about it for months now. That after Pro Tour that really popped off. In the cold foil Fable also, like, you see basically big gains there, almost 50%.
Yeah, I looked today when I pulled these numbers, Nate. There was one on TCG Player, pretty rare card, it seems, or just people aren't looking to sell them right now. But I would bet more on rarity at this point.
They're pretty rare.
Yeah, they're hard to get.
Yeah, you hear a lot of stories of like people opening a lot of boxes and not even finding one. So like I think that this is probably closer to like we put it at 1 in 100. It might even be like rarer than that. It might be like 1 in 125. There's not a lot of those to go around, and I think that a combination of like PT excitement and like people just trying to like round out their collections at the convention is what really like kind of like just wiped the inventory on that. But I think the non-foil Majestics are definitely continuing the course correct. But I think that at this point we can firmly say like another successful release. We're about 5 weeks out from a release now. Price is stable. EV of the boxes are right in line with the box price. 2.0, crushing it.
Yep, for sure. One other thing to note here, Nate, is that the Rainbow Foil Legendaries, their average price here you can see is like around $31, $32. Yeah, I think LSS, we've talked about this, maybe every time we've talked about Outsiders, but I think LSS realized or heard the player base being, hey, Legendaries are too expensive. Come on, this is out of control. So now you get the Rainbow Foil versions for like $30-$40. That's not too bad, right? I do think, we've talked about it a little bit. There's a couple Legendaries in this set that maybe haven't found a place yet. To say it nicely. Yeah. Looking at you. Those chess pieces are pretty rough. Maybe someday though. But yeah, so I think overall this is looking pretty good. I really like to see this. I hope this pull rates and this theory keeps moving forward, because I think looks like they've hit a balance here, and it's it'll be fun to see more sets like this.
The one, I think they knocked it out of the park with, they continue to with 2.0. The one interesting thing to keep an eye on going forward is that because Outsiders is actually not going to be, past Road the National season, Outsiders is not going to be the draft set moving forward. They announced that Monarch is going to be the draft set for Nationals this year. So it just shows that LSS really cares about their game and the longevity of their game, that they're going to go back in a product that is, we're both Monarch lovers here. So like this product has been tainted with a lot of bad vibes basically from the get-go. And LSS is not afraid to go back and say, like, listen, like, we didn't even get to fully like experience this set because of all the crap that went on, COVID,
COVID, yeah.
like product manipulation, what have you. We want to like give people the real Monarch experience and let people really enjoy the game. And there's so many people who got in during Monarch who are like, all right, I see you.
Hmm.
And like it, I don't know, for me at least, it's like it gives me a little warm, fuzzy feeling that we're like going back.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm game for Monarch drafts. Yep, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
All right. Let's keep it moving here. So
yeah,
we wanted to also hit on Dynasty. We have Dust Till Dawn coming up. This is our Dynasty being our latest supplemental set from last fall. Kind of
yeah,
see where it fell in. Just about 4% gains over the last 2 weeks. Box EV sitting at $87. Yeah, there's a couple of things here. Dynasty is benefiting a little bit from the Dust Till Dawn hype,
yeah.
especially in that legendary Marvel slot, right? $497. That's Soraya at 800, and then the Marvel Crown bringing that down quite a bit, right? So
Yeah.
you see that 60% hike. It's yeah, that's definitely some hype there for Dust Till Dawn.
Yeah. Everyone there was super hyped for it. I think Dynasty also will kind of provide a template for what we can expect to see in Dust Till Dawn, because they've already revealed that they're going to do the Marvel Majestic Angels.
Hmm.
So, gosh, those are going to be so freaking expensive. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get those, I think.
yeah.
There might be
So
different rarities though, so like rare angels, majestic angels.
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like they might do those.
legendary and with eight legendaries in the set, I bet you there'd be some
That's
legendaries.
that's gonna be the craziest thing. And we talked about this a little bit on our live stream too, is that like even once you like kind of like think you have a good idea of like what LSS is like shooting for,
Yeah,
like they flip the script and you're like, I have no idea what to expect out of this set.
yeah,
There's 8 legendaries.
yeah.
Um, but like Dynasty holding up, holding strong. Um, just a really well designed product. I think that the cold foil and rainbow foil legendaries are still like a little undervalued in this set, but
Hmm.
as we get closer to Dust Till Dawn, I think that we'll continue to see those move up a bit as well.
Yeah, there's some red on this chart for sure, but there's two of the again, we break out surgical just because it's like kind of its own thing, right? So definitely seeing that come back down. It's coming down slowly, I would say. I think we're a couple bucks every week maybe, and then over those last week, right, we see it come down, $5 or so,
Yeah,
$45 and then $80 for the rainbow foil. So yeah, I mean, once Dust Till Dawn comes out, I think that will come down a bit. The rainbow foil probably not, because you're not adding any more of those to the pool. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, there's a good amount of green to offset that red too. So interesting overall. I think it's Dynasty is probably going to keep gaining momentum. Right, there might be some Rune Blade support. These cards might support the new Rune Blade, and then it'll really pop off. But it's pretty early for that still. All right. All right, now we're gonna jump to the Looney Tunes time. This is Wild Wild
hold
West.
on to your britches.
Yeah.
Um, y'all are crazy. We knew this was like going to happen for the longest time. We did not know that it
Yeah.
was going to be the draft set. Monarch first isn't going to be what you're like drafting in prep for nationals.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about picking up any of these cards, just wait. Just
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Like this is not real. This is all of these numbers you see on the screen. They're fake. They're fake numbers for the time being.
Yeah.
The retracement here will likely be like what we saw when there was the buyout of all the like WTR and ARC legendaries, right?
Yeah.
Um, we're going to see a retracement. It'll probably be 20-30% of all these numbers. And like before we even started recording, Ted said like he had to go and fix
I
some numbers because like just the rainbow foil.
Air Edition it was. I saw it.
Yeah.
I just was like looking through these numbers, right? Because you see, when I see like 120% change, right? Or, over 100% change, I kind of just go do a double check, make sure my numbers are entered properly.
Mhm.
And Air Edition by itself, Rainbow Foil First Edition was like 250 when I pulled the numbers this afternoon at 3. Before going live, we double checked it again, Nate. I think it was under 100 or just right around 100. So, I mean, it's flooding. These cards are flooding back into TCG players, so these numbers, um, are going to change quite drastically. Just if you want first edition cards, right? Just hold off on this for right now. The market will definitely adjust.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, yeah, 36% gain. It's like, yeah, okay, it's not going to stay there. I think
Yeah.
overall this is good for Monarch First. It's going to come up and then come down, but it probably won't go back all the way down to where it was, right? So, it's starting to bump up, right? And as this set gets older and older, you'll probably see this happen a couple times, and that's how these card values will bump up, right, over time.
Yeah, and I like even with a like reasonable retracement back down to like let's say we lose like $50 in value out of the box.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good value for where the boxes are sitting right now.
Yeah.
Monarch First, as much as this product is hated and pumping, still kind of feels a little undervalued. Like if
Yeah.
it's I don't know. Maybe I just love Monarch too much.
Yeah. So there is one thing to note here, right? James White in the Q&A did say that Spectra was not going to be supported in Dusk Till Dawn, right? So,
Riddance.
yeah, probably for the best. So if you're going to play Spectra, you're going to have to get it from these boxes, right? So that will help it out a little bit. But then again, on that same coin, on the flip side, we don't know how much more support is coming from this set, right? I would suspect some, right? They have the card types, they are Shadow Runeblade, but will they jive with the new heroes? I wouldn't bet on it, right? Or like don't like bet your house on it. I would say like they could do something
Yeah.
side, they could like sidestep it a bit, right? Just like with the Spectre mechanic, right? That one's obvious.
Yeah.
There might be some more less obvious things with Bolton, with Lavia, things like that, just probably worth chilling on some of these right now. And obviously this is first edition, so you can also buy the unlimited. So let's jump over to unlimited. Again, I'm gonna say a little wild times here. So
Crazy town.
yeah, this is crazy town. Like the Majestics here, oh man. The 22% is like, okay, maybe like it's not going to stay that high, right? The 161% on rainbow foils. Over the last couple months, I've been collecting up rainbow foils. My goal was to have a complete play set of rainbow foil Runeblade. Shout out Righteous Gaming. My foil man, he's been hooking me up for the last couple months, right? And man, I'm glad I did it early, right? But yeah, I think just yeah, especially on the unlimited. There's going to be a lot of unlimited opened. This market's going to flood again. If you want those rainbow foils, if you want those Majestics, just hang tight. You'll have your chance to get them at a cheaper rate here for sure.
I'm gonna give you all a hint here. LSS didn't make Monarch the draft set for Nationals because they thought it would be thematic. It is, and it's definitely they can say that it'll be tongue in cheek, but there's a metric shitload of Monarch Unlimited, and by them pushing it, because like it's out of print. It's not like they're gonna like go back to the printers print more for this season.
No.
They knew that there was way too much, and then they were like, "Listen, it'll be fine if we make this the the draft set because they'll be able to find it everywhere. They probably have enough that like because you think about it, they have to have enough also to run all of these events
Yeah.
in all of these different countries.
Yeah.
It's out there, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of it.
20% more Nats being held this year than last year, just as
Mhm.
like a little sidebar. That's a large number, guys. This game is
Pump
going,
it,
right? And
pump
then
it.
circle back to your point, Nate, there's a lot of unlimited at distributors still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
It's cool for LSS to do this, right?
yeah,
I think it shows confidence. It gives confidence to distributors, to stores, to we've kind of cleaned out all of my local stores of unlimited Monarch just by doing drafts, ironically.
mhm.
But I'm sure there's lots of LS stores out there that have these boxes, have these cases on the shelf. Nobody's wanting to open them, and now all of a sudden they're like, hey, I can move this again, right? And make some money on it, maybe even on top of that, right? Because now it's wanted.
I've been joking with our local store owner because he has some heavy Monarch Unlimited bags, and I was like, "That's till Don's coming, dude. Those bags ain't so heavy anymore." And
Yeah,
now now that there's the draft, those bags aren't even heavy at
yeah,
all. Shoot, that's
yeah,
like a feather.
yeah. He can
Um,
push it.
but don't buy any singles right now. Like the
Yeah,
prices on these,
just
like,
yeah,
oh
chill.
my god, that there's going to be a lot open between now and August, and between now and July. You got plenty of time to wait for your time to pick up the single legendaries because
Yeah.
all of them right now are way too expensive.
Yeah, being around the discords and stuff and kind of catching up while at PT, right? I think, we mentioned it on our live stream that like the Pro Tour was crazy. It was like a huge step up. The vibe in there was
Yeah.
nuts. I think that bled over from the streams and from just, the general vibe into the player base, that people that couldn't even be there. And you're seeing that in this Monarch, these Monarch breakdowns for
Yeah.
sure. Like I think people just were like sitting at home watching the stream. I was like, you know what? I'm buying this. Like as soon as I saw Prism, Herald of Air edition, we're pumping it to $200. It's like, okay. Anyways, yeah.
Yep.
No, I think that's what we're seeing here. So yeah, just chill on that. Okay, so that was our last EV set, but then I did want to show something else here, Nate. Yeah, sorry, this chart is a lot to look at, folks, but I'll try to break it down for you a little bit, or what I'm thinking with this chart. So we have a number of data points now, and I didn't think it was pertinent to show this up until probably right about now, right? So we have 10 or so data points for each set. So each bar is, each week where the EV was. And now that we got about 10 data points, we can take a look at it now. And there's some interesting things that are showing up, or interesting trends, right? I don't have the trend lines in here, but we can kind of break it down, Nate, a
Yeah.
couple blocks at a time. So the one thing to look at here is Welcome to Wraith is like, yeah, it's a little weird. That one's a little weird. It looks like it popped up and then it's fallen back down. So really maybe just trend neutral there. But let's look at the next three sets here. Arcane Rising, Crucible of War, Monarch first. Obviously throw out the albatross or the outlier that is this week, up over $200. Okay, throw that one out. But I still want to show it, not try to hide anything here. But if we look at these three sets, if you put a line to them, right, you can start to see they're trending upwards, right? And I think, we've talked about this when we talk about each set in our last episodes, but now you can kind of see how that's going. Yeah, there's ups and downs, but those are trending up. So is Monarch Unlimited, right? It started out pretty low. As Dusk Till Dawn, it's pumping up. And then Tails is like, not the strongest trend line up, but I would say it's trending up slightly. The next three sets, I would say, the next four sets, and then Outsiders is missing its label, but that's the last one at the end there. Don't know what happened there. But if we look at the four sets here, Tails Unlimited, Everfest First, Uprising, Dynasty, you see a pretty flat trend here. So the newer sets in 2.0 are staying pretty flat. I think that's expected. At this time, the Tails obviously being quite Yeah, it's pretty old right now, but like Everfest, Uprising, and Dynasty are just like Everfest is just over a year old, maybe a year, 4 months. It was February last year, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, a pretty young set. It's kind of just hanging out, but it's holding its value where it's at. Yeah, I think it's interesting to see, the older sets are gaining value generally, I would say.
Yeah.
I can lightly say that, right? WTR is again kind of weird. But as we build data points, right, we can keep adding to this and keep watching this. But I think it's interesting to see, it's not just this up and down, right? If we look at one set a week, you might not get the feeling for it. But when we put them all together like this, you can kind of see, example, Crucible at War, it's going up, right? Had a little bit of a bump down this week, but overall trending up.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see too, like as we kind of like track these things, is like where are the turning points for a lot of these like older sets? Like you're seeing Tails now start to turn to Tails Unlimited not as much because
Yeah.
probably a lot of that.
Next year's Nats will be unlimited tryout. Calling it now, folks.
Listen,
Going
I
back
love
to Aria.
we're going back, baby. I love both those sets. So I'm fine with that.
Well,
So
there's no more weapons in this set though that are legal, so Voltaire is like hanging on by a thread.
dude, they can't ban Voltaire. Voltaire is too critical to Lexi's overall
Yeah.
aesthetic and game plan.
I agree, but it is funny that it's the last weapon left.
And I think like looking back to like this does kind of follow like what the Taco Man has always taught us, right? Like usually a year and a half, 2 years is kind of where once things start to like age out, that's when you start to see the trend upwards, and you're seeing that basically almost to a T.
Yep. Yeah, another point that I didn't really hit on at Everfest, not sure why it's not late, or sorry, not Everfest, Outsiders. So Outsiders only has minimal data points right now. We're looking at what's at 5, right? But you do see, and it'll be interesting for Dusk Till Dawn to see this trend build too. So, I'm not at all surprised that we see those bars collapsing down. And we will see that trend down until we probably get to a level out point like Dynasty, say, or Uprising.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll
Yeah.
chill there for, like you said, maybe 2 years, and then all of a sudden, start looking more like Arcane Rising or so.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, also, like, how long does it take it to like kind of like find its floor, right?
Yeah.
I think we've seen it now with Outsiders about 5 weeks out. So, with mid-July release of Dusk Till Dawn, then you're running right about 5 weeks, right up until national season.
Yeah.
So, the only thing that like I'm a little concerned about right now is like, the national seasons here. I don't know why I don't even have a watch on. I just looked at my wrist for no reason. But end of the month here. But then like we basically get a month and a half of silence to do nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But was there anything else you want to talk about tonight, Ted?
No, that'll do it, man. I think we'll bring that chart back every once in a while. Like I said, I didn't, we need data to show it, right? And even showing it next week's on Saturday is not going to make sense, right? You won't be able to see any updates to the trends. So maybe every month or month and a half, we'll bring that chart back, kind of take a look at, what the trend lines, right, on that. So,
yeah.
But all right, man. I think that's pretty good. Just overall, hang tight on Monarch right now. If you didn't buy your Monarch staples, I would just chill a bit.
If you have extra Monarch staples, yeet them into the sun.
Sell now if you can. Definitely if you got extras. I think there is maybe my last point will be. I even get it sometimes where I'm like, oh my God, this will never come down again. But, sometimes there are things like that, right? Perfect examples, the Fableds were cheap forever. And then it's just like, oh no, I don't think those, some rare cards like that won't come down. But when we're talking about like non-foil majestics and even rainbow foil majestics to a certain extent, in the second cycle and forward, like the first cycle of majestic rainbow foils are a different breed, but yeah, just hang out. Like those majestics will come down. Definitely. They're not going to be $20-$30 a piece for, I don't know, whatever they're at right now. Just maybe take a breath. There's going to be a lot of Monarch opened. That stuff will come down.
100%.
Cool, man. That's all I got.
That's it for me too.
All right, everyone. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking this video. Peace.
Peace.